All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to express my special thanks to Mary Sue and her team and recognize you for your steadfast focus on creating a more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous Chicago region. Your efforts are really more critical than ever in terms of creating that great vision for the best of what we can be as we go forward. So as a member of the business community, I recognize the role we all play in making a difference, which is why it's an honor to help introduce MPC's Champion Fighter Award. Each year, MPC recognizes that unique individual who exemplifies extraordinary leadership, civic commitment, and philanthropy. I can't think of anyone more deserving of this year's award than Pat Ryan, Chairman and CEO of Ryan Specialty Group. To give him a proper introduction, I want to welcome my friend Andy McKenna, who was the recipient of the Champion Fighter Award in 2013. Both Pat and Andy have inspired me and so many business and civic leaders to do more, to work harder, and really to ensure the benefit for a stronger Chicagoland community. So please welcome Andy McKenna.
Well, thank you, Scott. The real honor is the opportunity to introduce Pat Ryan. I look around this room and I think I could safely say that I've known Pat longer than anyone at this luncheon. But what a ride that has been. I've been around Pat, with Pat, seen Pat, followed Pat, and all these remarkable things that he's achieved in his very short life, with many years to come. But going back into the 1960s, when the insurance empire of Pat Ryan began with Pat Ryan and Associates, and going forward into the 80s when he had the great Aon. But the most important thing, I think, is that Pat's energy and leadership. Pat retired from Aon, and many people would have thought, this is a time to go back and relax and sit on the sidelines. Not Pat Ryan. Pat has built a remarkable company, Ryan Specialty Group, and he's with it every single day. He's providing focus for all of us. But all of that has been directed in turn to his philanthropy throughout the community and throughout the country. I could go through a list of everything he has done, but two most notable, obviously, are first his affection, his interest, and his dedication to Northwestern. Both he and Shirley have been remarkable in that respect. And of course, you're all well aware of the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, which so effectively serves so many people in this community. So I'm honored to ask Pat to come up. But before Pat, I want to say that we're also honored with having Pat Ryan Jr. at our table, and another former champion fighter winner, Lester Crown. But Pat, when they said champion fighter, there was no doubt about it. You're a champion in everything you do. You fight for everything you've got. We're honored to have you, and I would ask you to please come up and join me.
Thank you to my dear friend Andy McKenna. He said that he follows me, but the truth is I've been following him for a very long time, and I'm honored to follow Andy in this recognition, and Lester Crown and many others. And thanks to the Metropolitan Planning Council for selecting me. It's a great honor, and it's a particularly, I think, very timely point in my life to reflect with all of you on how important this community has been for our family and for so many people that we care about and love. And we're at an inflection point in many ways in our city. And so the timeliness of this opportunity and talking about philanthropy, you know, people think of philanthropy as being large gifts. But I really believe that philanthropy, and when you look at Webster's definition, It's really all about implementing charitable endeavors that benefit humanity. So I think everybody in this room is a philanthropist. The scale of what people do is variable, obviously, based on their capabilities and their interest. But the sharing of our time, our valued time, and whatever treasure that we can share is what I think philanthropy is really all about. So as I talk to all of you, each of you, I think you're a philanthropist. And this city has been built on people sharing. This city has been built, the old cliche, standing on the shoulders of those who came before us, but it's really very true. I've been in business here now 60 years, and I look back on those who preceded my 60 years, and for 60 years before that. And there's been a tradition in Chicago that each generation steps up and takes on their role in the community. They take on their role in supporting philanthropically. And so I have every belief and conviction that the young people in this room and the middle-aged people in this room, and there aren't any old people in this room, take that very seriously. So as we look at how philanthropy has impacted our lives, we look at it as a family business. Our family is involved together in trying to share blessings that we've received. And that biblical statement of, to whom much is given, much is expected, applies to our family. We've been very fortunate. But it applies to all of you as well, because we've all been given so much. And so I'd like to leave a message with all of you to select where you can make an impact. This award is about making an impact. We try to look at everything we do and how can we make an impact. And then we look for something, pardon me, called the multiplier effect. So we're involved in education. Well, in education, you have a great multiplier opportunity because you're multiplying through others the opportunity for education. We believe that the two fundamentals in life really are people getting jobs and getting educated. And so we work to have a multiplier effect on creating jobs. And one of the great things about being an entrepreneur is you create jobs. And so everybody focusing in on helping people get jobs, helping people get educated. So primary education scholarships, secondary education scholarships for those who, the underserved minorities, who can't afford that on their own. And then the same for poor, very talented people who can't afford to go to the university or college that they belong in. Education for them. Education for graduate students who can go out and multiply themselves in their learning, both in academia, but also in the professional world, in the sciences. And that's how this country has gotten so far ahead of the rest of the world in developing the scientific development, creating the scientific developments that we have. I'm very happy to see Lonnie as our keynote speaker, because I just want to close with this thought. One of the great assets of the city of Chicago is its cultural life and its cultural institutions. And if you believe that it's our responsibility to make life better for people, you do it through the cultural institutions. If you believe, as I do, that building and creating a lifestyle for people in this city creates jobs, attracts high-quality people, gives people an opportunity to get balance in life. Just look back when Boeing made the decision to leave Seattle, and they went around the country and they looked at 6 or 8 cities. Chicago obviously won. And one of the keys for Chicago winning was its great cultural life, the great cultural institutions. And I remember at a dinner talking to the new management, or the management that was going to be moving here. And they were talking about how impressed they were with the Lyric Opera and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Joffrey had not yet moved here, but a lot of local theater, and of course the great museums. So all of that cultural life, whether you want to participate or not, it really helps the city. It attracts people, it attracts companies. We've done a really good job of attracting businesses, but that's got to be just the beginning and the job for our next mayor. And so the cultural life, Lonnie's going to give a lot more about that, and I've talked too long, so I'm going to shut up now. But I just want to let you know how important, in my past experience, that cultural life has been. So it's all about helping people get educated, helping people get jobs, and remembering to make an impact where you can multiply your efforts, your time or your treasury, through the multiplier effect. Thank you.